Hi everybody, it's April. I just wanted to play around making some backgrounds today using a jelly printing plate. I know some of you guys might have one of these in your stash, so I thought let's give it a whirl. It's been a long time since I have worked with a jelly plate. In fact, I've probably only used it a few times back in the beginning of when I was experimenting with doing some art therapy, and I used to follow Barbara on Clarity Stamps, and she has a whole playlist. I'll link a couple down below of using the jelly printing press, and she's just a fabulous artist, and I just love everything she does over there at Clarity Stamps. So anyhow, I thought what I would do is use one of my favorite techniques I've seen her do as far as making a distressed background. And just bear with me here. I brought this out. So your jelly press, if you haven't seen one of these, you can pick these up at Michael's. They have different brands, different sizes. Mine is the 6x6. And you can also watch Lindsay on the Frugal Crafter. She has tons of ideas, even a DIY, make your own jelly printing press. And so yeah. Anyhow, but I just leave mine stored in the box that it came in. And it will have a plastic sheet on both sides, so you can take that off of one side, and then I normally just leave one side with the plastic still on it. And I'm going to experiment with some Bristol Smooth cardstock. You can pick this up at Michael's or Joann's. And I'm going to go ahead and let's see if I can find my paper trimmer. Just cut this in half and give me some paper to work with. So give me just 1 second. Let me get some supplies together and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've put some copy paper down behind the jelly plate so you can see a little bit of what I'm doing. I've picked out 2 distress inks that I'm going to work with and try to kind of match how I saw her do it in her video. I'm going to use Picked Raspberry, and this is just the regular distress. And the first thing I want to do is go in and add some ink to my plate. You probably don't need that much. And because this is a gel, it will, you know, slide across the jelly plate pretty well. You're going to think that you're not really getting much on here, but it will, believe me. It just looks lighter as you spread it out. So we're going to just get a thin coat all the way across the jelly plate. And as you can see here, I've got plenty of color left on my roller. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some 6x6 card. This is the Bristol Smooth. And I'm just going to line it up the best I can over the jelly plate and give it a good press. You could take another piece of copy paper and put it over the top of this. I'm going to put a T up here for top and just give it a good press. This way I know that I'm getting all of my card. We'll hopefully get some ink on it. And trying not to shift the jelly plate underneath. Okay, so let's see how that turned out, if we got any ink on there. Okay, good. So I have a nice pink base, and now what I want to do is go in, and we could wipe this off, but we're not going to. I'm going to go right back in with the pumice stone and put some of that on there. So this is a little bit darker of a color, so that should be fine. We're going to smooth that out and try to rub it out. Now I'm getting some beading on mine, my jelly plate, so if you see that happening with yours, just keep rolling it. It will spread out. Okay, and I'm going to wipe that off. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some paper and just crumple it up. And really just give it a good, you kind of want it softened, you know, like a really crumply paper. So undo that. And I'm going to do that a few more times. Okay. You just want to break those fibers down and get some, you know, some valleys in there so it's nice and soft. Okay. And then we're going to open our paper up. And we're just going to go in here and we're going to press, 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 press. And you're just picking up some of the ink. Okay. And let's do a little bit more there. We're getting a lot of ink off of there, so I know it doesn't look like much, but we are. So let's try to get our thing straight again. We're going to come in here and remember where the top is. And we're going to go back over that. Okay? And I just used my copy paper, but you could, you know, get another piece of copy paper and do like I did before where you hold it over the top. And just want to make sure that I'm getting a good amount of pressure all over this paper so we can pick up the design that we're trying to make. And if I did it right, it should come out with a really beautiful damask type of print. So let's take a look. There we go. So really beautiful. And then we can take a look at this and see what it's going to match in our stash as far as, you know, what type of background, what would go good with this. So we've just made a beautiful little background. We'll come back to the jelly plate in just a moment. Let me move this over here. So what I wanted to share with you is I'm trying to go through my little die cut stash. I had mentioned this before about using the things that are in your stash. So I wanted to make some backgrounds and just use up my little critters and things that I have like that. So I'm going to look through here, like this was a little image that I made, and I could cut that off and trim it down. That would make a really beautiful background for her. So that's kind of an idea we could do with that. We could even, in fact, I think this is a really good example of something you could, you know, match, try to coordinate what you're making with your jelly plate. So, you know, using any colors, you could have used blues and it still would have worked with this image. But let's keep moving on. Trying to find my beautiful little Hero Arts girls. I've got to find something to make with those. Okay, so I'm just going to keep looking here real quick and see. I have some of these from the Hero Arts. I don't think that really goes well together because it's a totally different look with the damask. So let's see. You could always cut this out and use it for other things. You could go in with a die and you know, just do something with that. Let's see. This almost looks like a little wooded background. If I did the background in green, that would look good with those little lawn fawn characters. You know what I'm saying? Like if you had done that in the greens, and it would almost look like a background forest scene for the little fairies in their house. So I think I'm going to go back with the first image that I had. And we'll just make a quick card with this. And, sorry, all my stuff is dumping out. Okay, so just quickly I wanted to give you an idea of, you know, how quick and simple it is to make a background using your jelly plate, and also, you know, looking through your die stash to see, or looking through your stash of things you already have. So I have some enamel dots I had already put on this, but I'll see if I can't trim that down. I'll trim this down. We'll get a card base and we'll make a card real quick out of this, okay? I'll be right back. Okay, so I just cut this one down just to trim around, and I left the enamel dots on. I took just a basic stitch rectangular frame to cut that out. And then I just took some of that slate cardstock that was in that Simon Says stamp kit that I just showed you guys. Trim that down to 5.5 by 4 1/4. And I'm going to go ahead and just quickly put this card together. And we'll do that real quick and have one card finished. So pretty much the only thing I did off camera was just trim down the cardstock and cut this panel out. Okay, and then we'll just adhere this. I hope you guys are having a wonderful weekend. It's getting chilly here. Excuse me. Alright, and we're going to, we could pop that up, I guess, a little bit. Do we want to pop it up? No, we'll adhere it flat. But so, you know, just really super quick, fun way to get some cards made using stuff in your stash, and an easy way to make a really, you know, quick coordinating background if you have one of these. So I'll just bring this in. Try to center that up a little bit. And it already has the enamel dots on it, so that's pretty good. Okay, so we have a card finished real quick. We could send that off to a girlfriend. It says, friends are like a good bra. They give support where you need it most. I thought that was so cute. Okay, so we've got that one done. And I just wanted to show you another thing really quickly about using stencils. I'm not going to really clean this off too much. You know, still a lot of ink on here. You could wipe it off with a baby wipe or a little spritz of water and a paper towel. So I'm just going to give it a good wipe real quick. Try to get the majority of that ink off. I don't know where my baby wipes went, so otherwise I would have just done that quickly. Okay, excuse me. I'm going to spritz this a little bit just to clean that surface off. And yeah, there's a lot of tutorials on her channel showing how to use this jelly plate with some acrylic inks. I haven't really experimented with that, but I do like using the distress inks on it. It's really quick. It smooths out really well on here, so I like that. I'm going to go in now with the Mermaid Lagoon, and let's see. I'm going to kind of just do, see if I can do an ombre from Mermaid Lagoon to Picket Fence. Okay, we're going to see how that works out. Alright, and we might, like I said, we might still have some pink on here, so in the end we may have some purplish hues. But yeah, so just experiment, play around. I know there's some ways that you can do this on like a stamp block or something, but the jelly plate really gives it a, you know, it gives you a different working surface because it's slick, so it makes it really fun to work with. I'm going to wipe some of that off, and it's hard to tell if I have any of that antique, or I'm sorry, the picket fence on there. Let me get my other piece of cardstock. Oh, I know what I wanted to do. I wanted to quickly lay a stencil on here. So this one is a little dirty, so I apologize, but I'm going to kind of lay it down here, and I'm going to come in here and just press with the paper towel, and hopefully, if I'm doing it right, I'm picking up some of that ink through the stencil yeah, we're getting some color, so we'll take that stencil back off. We'll come in here and lay this down. And I know I picked up some other color from that stencil, so apologize, I don't know what color is on there. Alright, I'm going to put a T for top in case we want to go back over that with anything. Grab a piece of copy paper, and that way I can just hold it better. So, a little bit different. You could also lay your stencil down and just use it kind of as a mask, and then it would only pick up what's on the outside. So let's see how that turns out. Oh, well, that's interesting. So yeah, we could do something with some trees. You could have, let me move this out of the way. That would be very interesting if you had some trees cut out. You could do that and do like, for example, we have the dies from the Hero Arts kit. We could cut off a border there. We could do that. And what was the other one? So we could have some trees. We could have the snow tops right here. We can angle that so we could get all of the green in there like that. And then cut this somewhere in here so we would have that as some borders. So that would be a really great idea to use. Just to give you kind of something different, you know, as far as how you're, I'm going to cut these out and show you. I'll be right back. Okay, so I cut these out and I just lined it up, so using the tree die up on the top. Okay, I might have to trim it over there on the edge, and then the mountain one on the bottom. Just pop that off real quick. And I don't know if you guys are keeping these little scraps, but you do know that you could use this for like doing some edging, just using a little sponge and kind of use it as a stencil, so you could add some, you know, you could still use that. So anyhow, here is the trees. And if we went in and trimmed this down, let's see what size our card front would be. This is just an A2 size card. So if we trim that down, we could even put like a layer of white. We could trim another one of these out in white. And then layer that on top. Let's see what that'll look like. I'll be right back. Okay, so I changed some things up. I went to cut this another piece out in the white, and I thought, ooh, let me use that fun paper, that textured paper that came in the kit. So we've got the background with the trees, and I switched to a darker card base. We can bring in the mountains. We can bring it all the way down, but then this was the original one we had with the blue, but I thought, let's use the city landscape and just see how that looks. So that way we're using kind of all three of the dies. And I just want to see what that would look like if we did that. Yeah, I think that's pretty. And then we could put a sentiment in the center there. So we have to kind of trim everything down so they're flush with the side of the card. But this will just give you a quick idea what that would look like. And we just made this really cool little textured background using our Gelli plate. Okay, so I'm going to trim these down. Let me see what sentiment we think would go well with this. Let's see. We have, you could use any sentiment, obviously. But let's see. In the kit, we could just use, how about It's Christmas Time? We'll see how that would go, and I'm not sure how we could stamp it on that material, but we could do it on a separate little piece of paper and then, you know, pop that up. So let me get some more things together. We'll finish this card off. I'll be right back. Okay, so I just went ahead and adhered these 2 layers to the card and trimmed it. And then I took the one that has the the scene of the houses, and I put some foam tape on it. I just stamped out It's Christmas Time and cut it out with the little, you know, banner die that I have in my stash. And I thought maybe we would distress the edge of that sentiment if we need to, but let's get this on there first. This one might be a little tricky. So I'm just going to remove all this tape. And we'll pop that baby up. Should have probably already removed these. Okay, little tiny pieces here. Just trying to make sure we have some dimension behind all of the little pieces of the house and the little village. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, sorry, I just wanted to do that off camera because it's a little fiddly. So I've got all the release paper off, and it wants to break a little bit in there, so I'm going to try to be very careful and just go to the bottom of my card. And then just dropping it down. I'm going to give everything a press. Okay, great. Okay, so we could leave that hanging off the edge a little bit. I think that would be fine. It's probably not perfectly centered on the bottom, you know, with the edge of the card, but I think it's cute. So, I don't know, let's see if we want to, I don't know if I want to distress that or not. I don't think I want to take away from the scene, so we're just going to pop the sentiment up, and that will be it. So, I hope that encourages you to use your Gelli plate if you have one, and just make some beautiful little textured, you know, variety of backgrounds that you can quickly, just using your distress inks, color coordinate. Okay, so let me just put another little strip here and we'll be done. Sorry. Always so fiddly with these little foam tape guys. Okay, so yeah, I just thought that's really pretty with the texture on those trees. This stencil that I used, by the way, was in a Dina Wakley, or I think it's Dina Wakley. You can get it at Michael's or Joann's. It's in the little section. She has her own little section now of all her materials, and it was just I think it was a stamp, a sentiment stamp, and a stencil that came together. So let's see here. I'll go right about there. See if that's centered. What do we think? Right. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Let's see. Do we want it up here? Over here? What do we think? Right about there. Okay. And that's what we're going to do. All right. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope that you liked this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos. I'll have some more Christmas things coming out. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed that. Again, using your jelly printing plate if you have one. If not, you could do similar techniques on the back of a stamp or any kind of a squishy surface, you know. So, okay, thanks so much. We've got that one, and this one was our quick one we did making the damask background also. Thanks so much, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.